Good God. Last week was one of the most gutless, heartless, and dickless performances I've ever seen from this team. No one can deny that. There's playing like shit, and then there's being so putrid that even Muck would try to distance itself. The less said about that awful game, the better. This week, on another episode of Philly Pit of Misery. God damn it. Why can't this be like that stupid Bud Light commercial and end already? Or like Days of Our Steelers. Oh wait, that's still going on. Kinda glad that is though. But anyway, after last week's shit show, there's been some controversy regarding the final play of that game. Turns out Devontae Smith went over to Nick Sirianni and said, "Give me the ball, I'm going to make a play, I can win for you." But unfortunately, he didn't get that ball. And if you look at the footage, he was wide open, plenty of space behind him and plenty of space in front of him. Would have been an easy touchdown. That would have won us the game. Granted, we shouldn't have been in that position to begin with, but either way. Whether you want to blame Jalen for not making the right throw, or you want to blame Jalen for not making the catch, either way you slice it, it's still Jalen's fault we lost. This next game against the Jets, by the way, will be at MetLife for the second week in a row. Jalen will not be benched, but Jalen has an injured ankle and will be replaced. So, starting this game against the Jets, that's right, Minshewmania.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life.
I mean, it was very interesting to see how he would do. I mean, literally the first play of the game, our putrid kick return team, our kick coverage team, allowed like damn near 60 yards, and all of a sudden they're already close to the 20-yard line, and the Jets score an easy first down, an easy touchdown. Oh my God. But then Minshew gets his shot, and he looked damn near perfect. I mean, he was doing what the previous quarterback wasn't doing. He was looking around. He didn't rely on his first read. He was spreading the ball around. He would look downfield, and then he would look to his right or left. And we got some successful screens with Dallas Goedert, and I believe even Miles Sanders a few times, even Kenneth Gainwell. It was mostly Sanders. Goddard got the bulk of those tight end. He got the bulk of those screens. The bulk of them were tight end screens, and he did a damn good job. Next thing you know, Dallas Goedert fights his way for 2 touchdowns. I mean, the first one, he catches it in traffic and just wrestles his way away from a defender and walks right in for the TD. And another one, he gets some space, but he stiff arms him and then extends the ball. Another easy touchdown. And the cherry on top was Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, as great as the offense is, kind of a flip side of how we were last week. Our offense did great with Minshew for the first half. But our defense, it was fucking horrible. I mean, we were allowing receivers a free-ass release off the line of scrimmage. We couldn't generate a fucking pass rush if our lives depended on it. And the thing is, either if you can't get a pass rush, if you can't pressure the quarterback for any reason, whether or not they were utilizing the quick throws, by the way they were, if you give the opposing wide receivers that much goddamn space, it's just easy pitch and catch all goddamn game long. But again, this fucking pea-brain just doesn't seem to get it. But luckily, during the final drive for the Jets of the first half, I believe, he finally figured it out and played press, and we were able to force a punt. I mean, his defense is just so fucking frustrating to watch. Even when we were winning. But luckily, we ended the first half 24-18. By the way, the Jets missed 2 extra points, and then they tried a 2-point conversion, and they failed. I mean, the first half, defense was terrible, but they they did force a punt in the end. And Minshew, I believe he was like 15 for 16, 2 touchdowns, and he was damn near perfect. The second half, he was at least poised in the pocket. He ran around a little bit much for my liking, but he did something, little bit. I don't know, but it was enough where he didn't make any. He didn't turn the ball over. Miles Sanders mainly got us our first downs. I mean, to put the second half in a nutshell, both defenses adjusted. I mean, they took away what was working for Minshew, the Jets defense did, and our defense was forcing punts, and unfortunately for them, fortunately for us, the Buttfumble once again Buttfumbled, and he threw a pick. And the third quarter, I believe we had the ball for about 12 maybe 13 minutes. We had the ball like 80% of the third quarter, and we scored kicking 2 field goals. Not the greatest ever, but that's still a step in the right direction. And the fourth quarter was more or less the same. We did kind of bend a little bit, but we still allowed no points. And the Eagles would be able to cruise the victory. Let that sink in for a moment. I want you to think about this for a second. The Eagles are now 12-0 all-time against the New York Jets in the regular season. Yeah, 12-0. Dating back to 1973. And the commentators were saying that was the largest head-to-head, that is the biggest head-to-head record in NFL history. That is... And, by the way, I swear, I mean, I was looking in the stands, and there were so many more fucking Eagles fans there than Jet fans, and I saw Jets fans were leaving the stadium, even when there was still time left for them to come back and win, and they were still leaving during garbage time. But those two things are indicative of how pathetic the Jets franchise is. I mean, considering they've been run for decades by the incredibly incompetent Hess and the even more incompetent Johnson family. Yes, the same Johnson family that had asbestos found in their baby powder, and they supposedly have the least effective jab out of the 4 big pharma companies that produce it. And what a shocker, they have no idea how to run a football team, and they haven't bothered to try learning. They either give up on guys way too quickly, or they let inept guys have the reins for way too goddamn long. I mean, I don't know if Parcells gave up on them, or you had not 1 but 2 Hall of Fame coaches give up on you. I mean, I don't normally crap on a team. I mean, I always try to keep it 100%. I always try to keep it unbiased. But when the time comes to crap on a team, this is appropriate right now. You have been nothing for decades. You are currently nothing. You will continue to be nothing. And Wilson, it's kind of looking like this guy ain't it either. Kind of like so many of the past ones. I mean, they haven't really found a successful quarterback since Joe Namath. The second was Ken O'Brien, the guy they picked over Dan Marino. When this team hasn't been anywhere close to a Super Bowl since the late 60s, that kind of calls for some cynicism, you know? Speaking of sorry franchises, let's look at Minnesota, who hasn't been to a Super Bowl since the 70s, where they lost all 4 of them. They lost to the Lions! Jesus Christ. Seriously. How can a team be so pathetic? And that goes for both of them. The good news is Minnesota losing kind of puts the Eagles at the 7th seed, I believe. Well, that will hold if the Raiders beat Washington, but I don't know. Last time I checked, Washington was at the goal line. Yeah, nice going, Raiders. You guys are so inconsistent as hell. You crush us, you lose to the Giants, you beat Dallas, and you may or may not be struggling against Washington. And the bad news is Minnesota single-handedly robbed us of 0-16-1. I mean, even if I were to throw you guys into a fire, you'd probably roll out and get run over by a truck. Fuck you and the shit wagon you rode in on. Don't ask me why, but if Vegas beats Washington, then we will actually have, I believe, the 7th seed in the playoffs. In which case, we control our own destiny. Well, even if Washington won, they're our next opponent. And I believe Washington has a pretty damn good defense. Especially with Chase Young there. That guy's a star. But we shall see what happens in that game. But either way, the Eagles control their own destiny right now. We would already be in this situation if we had won like we should have last week. Eagles win in MetLife. Did what we should have done a week ago as well. But better late than never, I suppose. Anyway, I may go live later with my boy RPF. I might not. I don't know. It just really depends on how I'm feeling. I'm kind of adopting his spontaneity, but anyway, y'all have a good one. Fly Eagles fly. Hashtag purple freaks. Hashtag purple faggots. Hashtag ringless fucks. Oh, speaking of New York, welcome back to fucking reality. You guys got your asses handed to you by Miami. Yeah. That basically shows you what would happen if the opposing quarterback doesn't turn the ball over 3 times against you. Just saying.